Hi everybody, I'm Helen.
And I'm Arun.
And we're here to spread some yoga love, or our love for yoga, and share a little bit of chanting, chai and chat.
That's right, and today we're going to talk about what is yoga. So some definitions of yoga that you might have heard before. And we'll also discuss what they mean for us personally in our personal lives. So we have Patanjali, he's ready and he's waiting to be heard. But first we'll play you a little mantra.
Jaya Sitaram.
Jaya Sitaram.
So Arun.
Very nice, thank you, Helen.
What is yoga to you?
What is yoga to me? Well, yoga, I guess it's, it can be a friend and it can be a challenge along the way. And basically, for me, what yoga does is that it takes your personal development and it kind of puts a turbo booster into it. So when you kind of try to progress on your path or get to know yourself better, then you will get to know yourself better anyhow. But when you do yoga and it just speeds up the process, kind of. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what is yoga? What is yoga for you?
So yoga for me, while I drink my chai, has become over the past, I'd say 23 plus years, my best friend. It's always there for me. And when I talk about yoga, I really mean not just the physical practice, although when I've had breaks from physical asanas practice, then I recognize how much it still gives me when I go back into practice in that form. But I also very much, when I talk about yoga, I'm talking about pranayama, I'm talking about my love for chanting, mantra, bhakti. And yeah, it's really, it's my journey of life, and has changed me inside and out, but very slowly, and I'm still on that journey. I'm like here's the mountain, and I'm here right now. I think over the years that I've been practicing, the more I learn, the more about myself through the practice, the more I learn that I know nothing. And that's the great thing about yoga for me, is that it's very humbling, and it helps you recognize, simple things, simple pleasures, and how much we have to grow as human beings together on our journey and individually.
Right. Yeah, I think the humility part is really an important thing that yoga teaches. Sometimes when you start out, you think, well, if you do a lot of asanas, a lot of physical yoga practice, then you will feel different, you will feel better, and if you get a glimpse of some spiritual insights too, like by meditation, or you can say, I guess, different
meeting. No, I was going to say about meeting different gurus, if you like, your different teachers, and that can be whether that's a guru in India or your teacher here in Karlsruhe or wherever you live. They have little snippets of information of their journey that they can share with you that then helps you along your way.
Can also be books sometimes, or that's right. And I think you get more and more to the basics again and again if you kind of are on the yoga path for a longer time, and you realize it's such a big cosmos of different techniques, of different approaches, and so it slowly starts pervading your whole life and your lifestyle, and you will always be put back to who am I actually, which point am I in my life, and what is important right now. So it's a lot about introspection and
sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you, but I had a little thought then. Yeah. Sometimes I think back of like when I didn't know really much about yoga or practicing and such, and definitely on a spiritual path direction, it is a lot easier. Sometimes I look at people who are not in that realm and I think, wow, when you're just happy with your 2.4 children garden life and you're not really introspective so much or looking at yourself, sometimes that life is in your head seemingly a lot easier, because the yoga journey is it takes you to the light and also to the dark.
Right. Yeah, if you
Sorry,
consciously,
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
That's all right. It's all right. No, if you consciously choose to get on with your life, I think it's also one of the, very widespread, one of the reasons why you come to yoga is because you're in some kind of suffering, or you've had some kind of hardships in your life. Yeah. So I think this is a very important aspect. And for some people it might just be that the lower back hurts, or that they have some trouble with their relationship, or whatever it may be, or with their families. So there's some kind of something happens in your normal day-to-day life where you think, okay, I want to change something. And for many people, this is like a starting point into yoga. And I think it was the same for me also. At some point in your life, you think, okay, for some reason, I don't want it to go on like this. What is really behind? Why am I always trapped into the same suffering or habits? Or what can I change about it? And really, this conviction is also important to say, okay, I want to change something about it. I want to do something about it. And then, and then yoga offers you a lot of beautiful tools, I think, to support you along the journey.
And what Arun was just saying about this suffering, it's also, for me, maybe it was more on a physical level. I used to be a runner. And so then I'm like, why are my hamstrings so tight? And then, but also that was a gateway in, but then after time I recognized that it was actually more to do with the things that happened in my childhood past and teenage years, etc. That there's something that I had this need to break out of. This cannot be it. The everyday suffering or everyday joys or your work and daily life, it felt like there's definitely something in me calling for more, calling, and it's like, now I see it's like your inner essence that is just wants to shine and wants to be brought out into a wider perspective and connect to something greater than your individual self. So, and not just me, I all the time, but actually being with beings, and in this greater capacity connecting to something that we cannot mentally always understand, and we don't need to understand, for me.
Right.
On a scientific perspective though, I'm very happy that these days that everything that the old yogis in India have been saying for thousands of years, now science is proving to be true about meditation and breath work, etc. So,
Right.
mental whirlings of the mind, the Citta Chatter, the Citta Vritti brings us
You
onto the next. Onto
you
the
were
next
talking about like
topic.
an inner light that shines, and it reminds me of this model of like an onion that you peel. You have different layers of thoughts, of consciousness, maybe also of things you're doing in your life that need to be how do you say, like decluttered or something, or needs to maybe fall away, or you have to kind of, if we want to move further closer to ourselves, then it's important to I guess this inner light. Okay, so it brings us to Patanjali.
Yes, exactly.
So of course we're not the first yogis, and so there's in the tradition there have been definitions about yoga. So if you ask yourself the question, what is yoga? Then there's this famous tradition by Patanjali in the Yoga Sutra, which is considered one of the most important source texts of yoga. It's about 1,600 years old, or some say 2,000 years old. This is actually Patanjali, which is the author of the Yoga Sutra. So he's always portrayed half snake, so his lower body consists of a snake, he has a snake body, and the upper part of his body is a human being. And there are some other things, he has 4 arms and so on, but maybe we can get into that some other time, into the symbolism of Patanjali. So what does he say? He says, there's this famous line, the second verse, the second sutra in the Yoga Sutras, Citta Vritti Nirodhah. And you come across it when you do yoga teacher trainings or read about yoga. So this is a famous definition of yoga. Citta Vritti.
And that's in
Nirodhah.
Sanskrit, the ancient
Right.
language. Yeah.
Right. So when we bring it to English, or how could you translate it?
To calm the mental whirlings of the mind. So the disturbances that constantly happen. So you're doing one thing, washing up, say washing your dishes. At the same time, your mind's telling you to go off and do this, and so it's constantly bombarding you with information of things, usually always in the past and always in the future. So this is really the beginning of like, how can we create space between the thoughts, calming this mental disruption in your mind, so that you can be present in the here and now. So really, we're here. We're together and we're drinking chai. I'm talking to you.
Oh, that's right. Cheers, Helen. Right. So we're constantly, our mind is active. It's also the nature of the mind. It's not
something wrong with
something
it.
wrong with it in the first place. Sometimes we need it, to get on with our lives. And if we would never think about washing up, or if we wash up and we never think about, doing the garden, then we might forget about the garden. So there's also some useful, the mind is very useful, So I don't like, sometimes you think it's negative, it shouldn't be, it can be like that, and it's the nature of the mind, it's no problem with it. But it's also very distracting from the present moment. It's also distracting us from ourselves, and it's taking things so seriously that are maybe not so seriously, and especially it's fantasy. It's creating fantasy, because things you worry about in the future, they usually never happen.
Never happen.
Things happen, but it's different things. The same about the past. The past is gone, so why?
Yeah.
You know?
You can't change the past. You can only learn to gradually let it go bit by bit. And the future, yeah. We think that things, this might happen, and you can get yourself in a spiral. But actually, when you think back to what you were worrying about last week, last month, it very rarely happens. So, and then, especially at this time, 2020, then you're bombarded with something that nobody would ever have expected. And then with the yoga practice, with Patanjali, knowing about this mental whirlings of the mind, it's a great opportunity of this time to actually slow down, listen and learn and see, okay, the whole world has slowed down. And actually, now it's starting to build up again. But actually this time has been great in many ways for you to be able to just take a step back. Allow the mind to slow down. There's less things to occupy you because you can't go anywhere so much. You couldn't do anything so much. So then you have this time, okay, to breathe.
Right. And when Patanjali talks about the fluctuation of the mind, this Citta Vritti Nirodhah, it's not only things that happen in the past, that happen in the future, that occupy your mind. And I think one thing is also important, it's not only thoughts, he's also talking about emotions. So in the Sanskrit language, when he's talking about Citta, it's a term for mind in English, or in German it would be maybe Geist or Bewusstsein, like consciousness.
Yeah.
But it's a specific term, and it comprises your thoughts and your emotions as well. So, thoughts go with emotions. So it's like the inner turmoil that happens. And the thing is, it's not only about these contents, what's in your head, what's in your heart, or in your emotional body, but it's also that you identify with these fluctuations of the mind. So he's also talking about, for example, the concept of the I. If I say, okay, I am like this, I am like that, I am worthy, I'm unworthy, my name is Volker, I live there, and this is my income, and you identify with these things, and you think that is who you are, and this is what you are. But yeah, if you calm down these fluctuations and kind of master them, because Nirodha also means to master them, then this inner light or this other dimension you give it a chance to slowly open up.
Yeah. Fantastic. I was just thinking about this connection to I. We're so often always thinking I, and that is one of the most important things through your breath work, your mantra, the asana practice, or even if you're completely new to yoga in whatever capacity, this recognition of the fluctuation of the thoughts, the fluctuation of the emotions, then can slowly give you distance, and you're able to become the watcher of these sensations, emotions, etc. And then, like Arun just said, then you recognize that I'm connected from my inner essence to something that's, some call it love, some call it freedom, some call it God. Whatever you want to choose, you have this how would you say it? Sensation, connection, something I can't really express it in words. That's the thing, I can't express it because you have to experience it for yourself. And once you do, you kind of get hooked.
It's interesting you mentioned about the watcher or the inner, how do you say? Because this is the next verse in Patanjali. He says, Citta Vritti Nirodhah, you calm the fluctuations of the mind, and then he says, Tada drashtu svarupe avasthanam. So this is then the seer is the word he uses. The seer, so the one who sees, or this capacity inside of you which witnesses, watches and sees. And he says, then you stay in this capacity, or in this inner, in this capacity who watches and witnesses. So you become calm and rooted in that.
Mm-hmm.
And this is, those are two sentences, it's maybe easily said, but as Helen says, to experience that or to move towards it is quite a big thing. And if you reach it in moments, or if you are able to have it a bit more constantly, it's really it's a shift in your life usually, in your experience.
Yeah. And that's what we're still on our path towards, and our journey on every
Yes.
moment of every day. And especially now for me, being a mom, one of the biggest tests too. Constantly, the kids allow you to go into that moment of play, of presence, of being, and also stepping back and being the watcher, and your mom mind wanting to get stuff done. No, we haven't got time, we haven't got this, we've got to get there, we've got to do that. Ugh, it's clashing all the time. So it's, how can we still be in our daily lives and bring ourselves back in this place of the watcher, of this place of calming our fluctuating emotions depending on what scenario we're in, of being, and really being. And this was really what we wanted to share today.
That's right, yeah. So you're talking about moms and with kids, kids just watching something. We have to go to school or to some appointment. Yeah, that stretches. Yeah, that's a good teacher, isn't it? Okay, well, thank you very much for listening today.
If you made it to the end of the video, thank you so much for being here. We had our chai.
So cheers once more.
One more.
Chai, so we want to continue. This is chai, chat and chanting. So
Chai, chat and chant. And we'll maybe finish with one on.
Yeah, we'll do that. And leave a comment if you want. And or just go to the channel and so you can be informed about the next.
I'm Helen.
I'm
Yoga Say.
Yoga Say. I'm Arun, or Volker Linder is my Yoga Academy Karlsruhe. This is where I teach and my yoga studio.
So,
all right.
Hands in prayer if you are still there.
Namaste.